Greg Powers, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and I'm happy to be joined by Matt Stepp out here at the AT&T Stadium for the state championship games. Matt, I don't know how long it's been, 15 years?
We've been around for a while. We've been around, yeah, we're old.
We've been out here doing this, man. Thanks for joining me for instant recruiting reaction.
Let's go.
Following the Malakoff Franklin game. And you know what? Got to start on the winning side with Malakoff.
Absolutely.
And one of the guys I think whose recruiting trajectory could be on the rise after this game is quarterback Mike Jones.
Yeah, he's a really good athlete. He's a baseball player. He tops out high 80s. He's got 8-1 last year as a pitcher. Throws the shot put, throws the discus as well. Had some nice numbers throwing the discus, and you can see the athleticism and the explosiveness out here on the defensive side of the ball. He's a really good athlete. Staying stride for stride with a guy like Devin Hadrago, who's a Division I commit from Franklin. We'll talk about here in a minute, I'm sure. But Jones, I think he showed his athleticism. He's playing quarterback with a hurt thumb and still able to make a lot of throws. He's a kid to watch. I think he's a really good athlete, a guy playing on both sides of the ball for the Malakoff Tigers.
Very poised on either side of the ball is what I thought. I mean, it's something that jumped out to me. He didn't seem to be panicked at the quarterback position, and he played under control in the defensive secondary. There were a couple times there where it looked like it could be a pass interference penalty, but he reeled it back in and made a tremendous play on the ball.
Maturity beyond his years for a 2025 kid. He's just a junior.
Yeah, coming back for more next year. A guy who is a 2024 prospect, he's jumped out at us because of his size and his ability to make plays on both sides of the football, and that's defensive end, tight end is what we'll call him, Doc Renberg. He's got a few non-FBS offers to his credit, but wow, he easily and quickly passes the eyeball.
He's a good-looking kid. I think today his role was more setting the edge and letting the linebackers come make plays, but he did a great job with that, going up against a guy like Braden Smith there from Franklin and a really good offensive line. Doc Renberg did a lot of blocking on the offensive side of the ball, but I think defensively he showed he can, with his size, he can stand up, set the edge, and make plays. And I thought he did a great job. But you're right. I mean, he's one of the first guys you notice getting off the bus for the Malakoff Tigers.
Chauncey Hogg caught 2 touchdown passes, had a couple of good plays on defense as well, so another player to watch there for Malakoff. But switching gears and going to Franklin, the first guy we have to talk about is number 1, Jaden Jackson, 2025 running back. He's coming back for more next year too, and he's a guy that I think some colleges will take a look at.
Yeah, he's got good size, he's got good speed, he's a big physical runner. I don't know if he's going to have a position on the offensive side of the ball at the next level. He's a great fit in Franklin's slot T scheme, but I think in college he might move over to the defensive side of the ball because he's a big kid who can run, and especially once he gets his momentum going, he's a handful, and he plays defense for Franklin as well and looks good on both sides of the ball. And I think his future is on the defensive side of the ball, and I believe he's got a couple of Division I offers already.
Yeah, Texas Tech was his first offer, actually following the state championship game last year. He's going to continue that long line of Franklin running backs in the vein of Bryson Washington and some of those other guys who have really went on to be two-way threats and get a lot of college attention. You mentioned Devin Hadrago when we were talking about Malakoff. He's a guy who he's current Wyoming commitment, going to be taking an official visit to TCU next week. The Horned Frogs have extended him an offer. The Lions ask these guys to play on both sides of the ball, and he does that, but he'll be a defensive back on the next level. Yeah,
he's explosive. He's an explosive athlete, covers well. He's not real tall, but he's got longer arms than you would think. A good athlete on both sides of the ball. Definitely, I think his future's on the defensive side of the ball, but he's a guy I think who I think can play in space, and he's kind of a guy who can put on an island and feel comfortable. And if Wyoming can hang on to him, I think he's a real steal because he's one of the best athletes in Central Texas.
You know what? He's on the rise. I'll be interested to see what happens on that TCU visit. Will they flip him or not from Wyoming? I got to think that the chances are good that if everything looks good on the visit, that
I think
he'll want to stick with an in-state program.
Yeah, Wyoming's a long way away. Yeah, but it's a matter of are they going to give him the offer? I think if they give him the offer, I think he pulls the trigger.
All right. We're getting to the nitty-gritty here because we're getting ready to talk about somebody that's going to put a big smile on my face. That's Big Braden Smith. He wore 2 numbers in this game, number 3 and number 77, because he played tight end and offensive line. Pancake maker, big, grimy dude in the trenches. And you know what? He's probably hanging his head a little bit right now because they didn't win the game, and he's probably sad about that. But he's got a bright future ahead of him because he is a guy who can just squash those defenders.
He is among the most physical point attack blockers I've seen in any classification this year. He had to put on number 77 because Franklin had an injury to the offensive line. No problem for him. He puts on a different jersey to help the team. And I think his future in college is at offensive tackle. He's a tall kid, good size, and he plays with a nasty physical aggressiveness that you'd love to see see from offensive linemen. He's committed to Tarleton State right now. I actually think he could play G5
Definitely.
football. You know, I think he's a guy who probably should get some looks. He's a guy who, if you're looking for offensive line, a guy who can develop on the offensive line and put some good weight on at the next level, and who plays with that intensity, he's the guy. He is unbelievable at the point of attack blocking.
What's really cool about his story is he was probably 240 pounds last year. He didn't get to play in the state championship game because he had an ACL injury, but he's at around 280, 285, I would guess, just by giving the eyeball test out here tonight. And he moves just as good, or maybe even better than he did when he had a little bit less weight on him. And to me, that's super impressive. So if you're watching this, colleges, go ahead and take a look.
He's a good athlete.
For Matt Stepp, I'm Greg Powers. Keep it locked right here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football, TexasFootball.com, for not only all the state championship coverage, but coverage of the top recruits who are going on to play at the next level. Thanks, Matt.